my throat. Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to another episode of the Going Over podcast. And when I point like that, production man, you pop that shit up, and I want it up in the bright lights like WrestleMania, the only place it belongs. I am your neighborhood friendly coach, trainer, and 44-year-old professional wrestler, Zach Primetime Reeb, Papa Doobie, light that motherfucker up and smoke it. Let's get that out of the way early. And I'm joined alongside my podcast partner, as always, all 6 feet, 12 inches. And for you Neanderthals out there, that's 7 feet tall. The wrecking ball, Paul Isadora.
What's up, man? Just getting a late start here. I had the my dad's voice ringing in my head from a past life where he was like, every time he wanted to get me up out of bed, he'd be like, "Drop your cocks and grab your socks. It's time to get up."
What's in the bottom of that sock?
It's just how I roll my socks up.
Oh, it looked like you had like jelly beans or okay.
It's just folded out of the drawer.
What was that you pulled off that thing just now?
It's the granola bar.
Oh,
it was what I was holding in my other hand.
Jelly beans.
Jelly beans, granola bars.
This is the non-prison life here.
Socks with a bar of soup in the bottom. All types of stuff.
Larry gave me a pair of socks because I literally forgot my socks at the Urrington show, and they were the ones with like the urine yellow bottoms on it. So I went to the only person I knew to ask about that, and it was Karina Kyle. I had to think age-wise here, and is that them?
They've got the urine yellow toe.
That's what it was. Is that so you don't get the rotty toe? Is that supposed to help the rotty toe?
I don't know what that is. I feel like it's just so you know which direction the toe is.
Oh, that could be it.
It's got a heel on it and everything, but I don't know, man. It was just a memory that popped up in my head. My dad would be trying to get me up. He was a military guy, so I'm assuming it was something that that they heard in the military when they were trying to get him up for a 5 a.m. run or whatever. Drop your cocks and grab your socks. Let's get going. So stop beating your meat, right?
Speaking of getting them up, I remember hearing a young lady when you stepped over the top rope at one of our show with like, "Oh my God, that guy must be hung like a horse. He's stepping over the top rope. He must be hung like a doba, like a mule, like a Tennessee walking horse." You know, all I've been hearing, man, the Netflix and the Prime with the Paramount and the sport. I got to watch the Hogan documentary, and then internet connection. I restarted my router. I called you, and I think I woke you up, even though you had your green light on. And I went 45 minutes with you just talking about how I've been sitting here in the quiet. I watched Creed 2 way too many times. I've moved over to Will Ferrell in The Election, which is absolutely hilarious. But I've just been sitting here. I've been writing. I've been thinking about wrestling stories. I got caught in the worst rabbit hole of all time because I don't have my TV to watch. So, the TV in the living room's the same. My dad's room, he's gone for a couple weeks. And I got caught in the worst place I could be in. This phone on Instagram and Facebook, watching wrestling, podcast, listening to people just bitch. and I was looking at the releases, right? Like after WrestleMania, everyone's so excited going into WrestleMania weekend. They're like, "Oh my God, we're going to be in this town and everybody's going to have shows and we're going to be extras on stuff, and it's opportunities for everybody else and all." So much wrestling going on in the world today. And it's like, and then right after WrestleMania, the budget cuts, right? People get people get released. You can't believe the names of people getting released. And I just looked at it and I said, there's just so much. There's so much wrestling going on. Like the Christian and Brandon yesterday had a show for WCWF, and then they were in a car and they were off to a show in Pacheco for Maynard at East Bay Pro. Annabelle had a show in Sacramento, but it got canceled. So I want to wish a speedy recovery to Justin Catton. I don't know what's going on with him. He's a great guy, but it's got to be pretty bad if you can't run your show because one guy, a man is down. That tells me that man is very important. Not just very important to the next level wrestling. He is, if he's not around, they're not running, right? Like the show doesn't go on without this guy. So we talk about people being replaceable, and it's not that probably can't run without him. It's just nobody has been put in that position yet to make sure, the payroll, everything goes on. So that's a eye opener too. Like I never wish anything bad on anybody, but if you can't make an event and your company can't continue to run, then the next step I would think in that company is who's the next guy in line that we have to get ready to make sure that this thing moves forward, right?
Absolutely. And we talk about that with storyline stuff all the time, right? When, you just talked about on the last podcast about having, you're going to switch the title to somebody else, but you got to have contenders lined up waiting, ready to step into the spotlight position, right? And carry the show. And this is much the same where you need to have other people that can kind of pick up the slack, and everybody has a role, and it's one of those reminders that you start thinking about, like, well, what happens if somebody, that runs the music at your show isn't there? Like, who's going to step up to do that? Or if your ring announcer doesn't show up, who's going to do the ring announcing? Do you have enough referees? Like, you think about all the little aspects that sometimes get overlooked, and you go, wow, man, what would happen if somebody doesn't show up? And, obviously for next level, this is the, obviously a huge part of what they're doing. And for that person not to show up and the show not to be able to go on, you definitely need to start looking and seeing who's the next person who can step up and take some of the responsibility off of his plate. You think about that in a normal job role, when you're in a supervisory position, you have one of two mindsets. You can say, I'm not going to train anyone to do my job because I don't want them to take my job. Or you can say, I'm going to train people to do my job because I want to focus my energy on something else, and maybe for us in the wrestling business, it's, I want to be able to focus my energy on, doing a better job promoting, or finding, better talent, or doing a better job in the training school, or whatever it is. We need to start looking about trying to delegate some tasks to other people, especially when people are hungry to take those tasks. Like, when people are saying, hey, what can I do to help? And you go, oh, everything's good. We don't need any help, right? So maybe we start taking some of those volunteers to give them some responsibility and go, hey, I'm going to put a little more on your plate, so I don't have as much, or whatever the situation may be.
Well, I mean, we always talk about this stuff. You look at the turnaround rate, right? Like when I first started in the crew, the team I had, and then these guys are gone, and I'm still there. And they tell you that too when you get in the wrestling business, which is very rare, right? They say, look around the ring when you first start, and I want you to tell me at the end or 10 years down the road who's still left there from when you started. And I'm lucky enough, realistically, that the guy I started with, Rick Luxury, and was my best friend, is still here with me and is still my best friend. And he's moved off to Missouri and has a family and wrestles less. We don't talk less. We talk all the time. but he's not around as much. And that's something I look at and go, man, when he was living in the Bay Area, we still were around each other. Like, I think we actually see each other and spend more time now that he's in Missouri, because he comes in 4 times a year and he's with me 3 or 4 days, sometimes a couple weeks. And I'm just looking at it like delegation. I was talking to somebody yesterday and they were like, at our school, they were talking about Manny and Jesse, and it wasn't a bad thing, but they were saying their coaching is great. They're doing a great job coaching, but they're not in the ring leading by example. And then they were talking about, but when Arsonist is there, he's in the ring, sweating, taking the bumps, doing whatever he's got to do with the guys. And they said, and when the same thing was said about me, they're like, you're in the ring, sweating, doing all this stuff. And that's what it really comes down to, is like, Arsonist is my guy. That's why the ring's down there in Cottonwood. That's why he's setting it up. I thought it was funny though, because he was like, hey man, he hit me up on Saturday and was like, hey, are you coming down still to do these ropes? And I was like, well, do you got the stuff? And he's like, no, I thought that's what you were coming down for. And I was like, oh, I wasn't driving 2 hours down there to meet up with you and go on a scavenger hunt for 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch cable and 1 inch garden hose. So then I got on the horn and he's a man of action too. Like, after we got off the phone, I didn't talk to him for a little bit, and then all of a sudden he shows me the back of the car and he's got all the stuff in there. And I said, all right, here we go. I said, bring all that stuff to training today, and we'll disconnect one of the ropes and use the 4 good sized turnbuckles, and we'll just make them there. And then you can just take it. So why travel to, you're already coming here. Let's devote some time. We're also devoting time to stock footage today, which I think is very important. And we're taking a new approach to a lot of social media and stuff in the company. But what I was getting at is there's such a big turnaround rate, especially in our line of business, right? I mean, look at WWE. Do they need these people? And we don't know. We don't know if these people are injury prone. We don't know if their head's not in the game anymore. We don't know if they're fucking weird. You know what I mean? We don't know what's going on there and why they're releasing people. But it comes down to, like, let's just look at, and I don't know if you know who it is, but like, look at Julia. I don't know if you know who Julia is in WWE. She was the SmackDown champion. See, exactly. But do you know who Stephanie Vaquer is? My point right there. Like, Julia is from Japan and all that stuff. She's really, really good looking girl, good athlete. She was wrestling Vaquer when they both kind of came in at the same time, and they were wrestling on NXT, the main events and stuff, and having great matches. But Stephanie ended up with the horns and getting over with the crowd. And even though she does that little dangerous twisty move for a finish, which I don't think she should do or need to, because she has that devil's kiss where Booker T got it over, where she puts her knees around her head and her ass is going up in the air, banging. And that's what the fans want to see. They're popping for that. They're like doing, oh, she didn't get it this time, but she went back and got it. So I think a lot of people don't realize WWE is not looking for like the best professional wrestler technician on the mat. That's not what they're looking. If they were looking for that, they got Chad Gable there, and they should have been pushing him to the moon. But what they're looking for is someone that's going to resonate with the fans. They're going to cross over. They're going to sell merchandise. They're going to look good on TV. The character's going to get over. So barring a big argument on my end with everybody else, because that's what I heard a lot of bitching about, the guys on top, if they don't wrestle or not, the general managers, the executive producers, all this stuff, the CEOs, they are going to get a $70 million check cut to them at the end of the day. I mean, at the end of the year. It's a corporate company. The guys on top that run it are going to get paid way more than the pawns on the bottom, the foot soldiers, as we call them. And if you're not getting over, man, especially now that this TKO endeavor, whatever you want to fucking call it, if it's not making sense to them and it's cut budget time, then you're just someone eating a couple extra pieces of chicken and catering. You know what I mean? That's what it comes down to.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, to your point, as far as the you know, I don't know if it's a revolving door of wrestling, but it's definitely you have people that come and go. We had somebody that was a social media presence that I had contacted on I saw some of his stuff on one of the social media platforms, and uh I reached out to him and said, looks like you're trying to help out the community. You're doing stuff for local businesses and stuff like that. I have a professional wrestling company. Uh, you know, would you be interested in helping out? It's tell them basically the backstory. This company is run by somebody who's been in this community for a long time. Played basketball at the university. A lot of ties in the community. Would you be interested in helping out? And the guy was like, "Oh man, I've been looking for something like this." So the guy came out, man. It was just an awesome day yesterday. We had training, and the guy came out and talked to us. You could tell he was a wrestling fan from way back, right? So and we were talking about just exactly what you're talking about right now. It's like I tell this guy, like, it's gonna sound like an exaggeration that you had hundreds of people come through your wrestling school, and you can probably count on two hands, maybe a little bit more, of the people that have got to the point where they've actually had a wrestling match, right? What we're the goal that we're trying to get to is to become a performer, and so it was just like, you think about all the people that you've seen come through the doors, and then they never come back, or they're there for a couple months and then they leave, or even we had certain people that they got to a certain point where they had a match and they go, that's all I was looking for. I just want to have a match, and then they call it quits, right? So it's definitely one of those things, man, where you just you look around and you go, man, there's not a whole lot of people around that were around when I first started. So it's, I think about, it's Luster, it's Ugly. I know Mike Rain's been around for a long time, Choopy, but it's not a whole lot of people, man. So it's just, it's crazy, to look at it in that aspect, where you go, there's not a whole lot of people around that we started with, and it's the attrition rate is very high. Somebody is around and you think that they're promising, and then next thing you know, they're gone. You haven't seen them for 6-8 months, and then you just forget about them, because the next round, the next group of people is coming in and getting matches and stuff like that. But man, something else that hit home was, you're talking about getting in the ring and getting sweaty and working around with the guys, and that was not that you haven't told me this 100 times already, but I was like, getting in the ring yesterday with these guys was, it shows how much of a difference there is when I'm not in there. If you're coaching from the outside, or someone else is coaching from the outside, or someone is getting in the ring and actually putting their hands on people and talking people through stuff, right? This is what we're doing, and this is why we're doing it, and this is how it should look, and this is my mindset while I'm in this position, and this is why it makes sense. Trying to get to that point. We've got Richie, who is very much like needs the explanation of what we're doing and why we're doing it and things like that. So it was just another one of those times where it's like, I could see the benefit of getting in there and getting sweaty and breathing hard and getting blown up and things like that. So but yeah, so I think that's super important, and it's teaching styles, right? Some people think that they're going to teach from the outside, they're going to verbalize everything, and people are going to understand what they're talking about. But a lot of times that's just not the case. You got to get in there and put your hands on somebody and show them physically, this is what I'm trying to do. This is what it should feel like. I don't know. I think that's kind of what we're trying to accomplish.
If there's no improvement, I was talking to Shaq yesterday. I was watching Shaq and Ethan on from Extreme Measures. And I'm watching it and I'm going, man, the audience is there. And I'm explaining what this is. And I'm like, for the bad guy, and you could, I'm waiting for someone to do this. I might do it fucking next time I come up to you. We're taking the baby face's soul right in front of the crowd, right? And we're going, look, everybody, I have his soul. And they go, give him his soul back. And the baby face is like, I want my soul back. And now they're getting behind him, and we're still gripping onto his soul. And then we stop him. We let the audience dictate when he comes up, and we stop him. And we go, I still have his soul. And we continue to do that until we hear this noise. And then when we hear the noise at its highest peak and it drops a decimal, we grab him and turn his neck or whatever, and we let it build up. And then the babyface fights for his soul back. And I was telling those guys, I'm like, man, you had him. I said, you've only had this many matches. It was a major stage, a lot of people, a lot of eyes on you. I said, I want to throw you out there to fuck up and get this out of the way right now. I want to do that. And now going back and watching it, I was telling Dickie, I'm like, he hit Ethan with the boot when he wasn't even pulled up on the rope. And I'm like, you needed to let him pull up on the rope. He needed to wobble out to you. That needed to happen in the center of the ring. You needed to turn away from that face-to-face confrontation with Shaq. And Shaq threw a clothesline at him, and he ducked under it and then hit. And I said, you guys had him, and they reacted, but you didn't take everything away out of them. You know what I mean? And I would say, does that make sense? But yes, it does. You didn't take everything, every bit of emotion you could get out of your moment. I said, I'll give you credit. You overachieved in what you were trying to do athletically. But that's where we get confused, because we're like, we hear the noise or whatever. They kept whipping each other from post to post and disconnecting. And they kept trying to throw too many clotheslines. And I asked him, I said, hey, did you guys go over that? You went over, I watched you went over this match in the back, right? And I see so many people do it, and they're like, yeah. And I said, so you knew exactly when and how the crowd was going to start reacting to everything? And they were like, no. And I said, because if you did, tell me now, or pull me aside at the next training or the next show and explain to me after 27 years why that's the one thing I haven't learned yet. Because you cannot dictate what the audience is going to fucking do. So come up with your finish. And I'm not saying you can't have an idea and you can't talk about some stuff back there that you want to do. But if you're canning your chain wrestling, get the fuck out of here. If you're canning your heat, get the fuck out of here. And if there's anybody, hop in these fucking comments. I don't care if you've been doing it 20 fucking years, motherfucker. If there's anybody out there who disagrees as a professional with what I'm saying right now, hey, you want to go, this is what I'm going to cut you off with. This is what I'm going to come back with. If you want to go, hey, which you should, here's the comeback and the finish. We're going to can that motherfucker to the thing is, it doesn't matter that you should can the finish. Because if you do your fucking job right, if you do your job right up to it, you'll already have the fans. So if you do the comeback right or the hot tag, they're already going to be hip with the finish. No doubt. If you can get there, you got them. But if you are canning shit and spots, if you are canning spots in the heat of the match, get the fuck out of here. Because it's never going to work for you, and you're just going to be another statistic and another number. That's 100% what's going to happen. You know how? Here's how we should train these motherfuckers. Stand up, walk around, lock up. All right, take all these things. Here's how you counter all these things and hit your head in the buckle, all this shit. Once we show you all this stuff, how to take it, and then you can counter it and do it back to us, even the forearms and everything, then we're going to, guess what we're going to do? we're going to take you over. We're going to take you over, take you down to the mat. So now once we've taught you to do this up here, we're going to take you over and we're going to show you all the ways to get to the mat. And then guess what we're going to do when we get on the ground? We're going to show you all that shit we showed you standing up on the ground. And then when you can do it and counter it and do all that stuff on the ground, guess what's next? Fucking how to rise up off of all this stuff. And then when you can do it here and do all the down heres and then get down here and do all this, and then you can work your way back up, then we can start thinking about you running off the fucking ropes. Unless you're hitting the fucking ropes at the end of practice, or just like, hey, this is how I shoot you off for a tackle. If you're trying to do something off the ropes before you can do what I just explained, then you're teaching it wrong. Just throwing it out there as a fucking fact. I'm not looking for someone to combat and argue that with me. That's just a fact again. And the thing about this is, the hardest thing we can do is to teach you how to wrestle. But after we're done showing you all that, the next hardest thing is we got to throw you out there in front of that audience so you can make mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake. And the percentage, which is pretty fucking high, if a referee, a Sparky Ballard, a Chico Lopez, that Bree is a really good referee. And this is just me talking locally with stuff. Karina's a good ref, but Karina's not talking to the talent. Like she knows what she's talking about. Somewhere along the line, she just kind of quit conversating. So if you got two guys in there that are not as experienced, at least have an experienced ref out there or an experienced person out there calling some stuff as the manager role out there. But I mean, if we did it, that's the way it's done. And these guys get out in front of these live audiences and the crowd starts going, and they go like this. I'm gonna run my spot right now. And it's like that's not what they're asking you to do. And guess what? They paid. They're the paying audience. So when the seats aren't getting full, it's because, and it sucks, right? Because we talk about the turnaround rate. Sorry, man, I'm just on a goodie right now. I'm on a goodie.
You're doing good, man.
But we talk about the turnaround rate of these wrestlers. I mean, I'm even guilty of it. I think sometimes we let guys that have been around too long still stay on the card because we're loyal to them and they're there, and we don't go, hey, man, it just ain't working out with you. And they go, what? And you go, yeah, I'm gonna pull you off the shows, or I'm not interested in using you anymore. And you're like, but I'm your guy. And it's like, yeah, but that's where the business of this comes into, right? Like if somebody's not getting better, if somebody's not getting over, if somebody's getting in worse shape, you just kind of got to go, hey, buddy, I'm done with you, not in a bad way. But then you go, oh, this guy contacts you again, and you go, hey, you're getting in better shape, you're training harder, or maybe just put in a little bit more fucking effort, because that's what I look for is effort, man. Are you we say it all the time, are you coachable? Like, are you showing up to class? I've got guys for years that show up and tell you that they want to be the best, or they think they're the best, and they're not out working the new guy that's coming in the door. They're not outworking me. I tell these guys all the time, I'm almost 45. If I'm sweating more than you and I'm putting in more work than you on a training day, or setting up a ring, or staying after to break it down, whether it's my company or not, if I'm putting in more work than you, there's a 100% chance, and I do mean this, unless you're just hella good at that. You know what I mean? Are you hella good at that? Because if you're hella good at that, you might have a chance, right? Because the promoter might be like, dude, it's been a rough night. This guy gives the best blowjob afterwards. He's got these mints that he drops in his mouth and creates a lot of I love him, man. Don't tell my wife. But unless you're hella good at that, there's 100% chance if you're not working harder than the guy who's leading by example, or the hungry wrestler coming up, or the guy who's been doing it a while who's still fucking hungry, if you're not working harder than the guy that you're training with or you're on shows with, 100% you ain't gonna make it. And that's what I tell people now. Hey, you're not working hard enough to be a pro wrestler. And people get offended by it. And you know why they do? Because the truth fucking hurts, man. It does. I had to look at myself almost 2 years ago, and I thought, man, I'm Zack Primetime Weeb, right? I'm Zack Primetime Weeb, man. And I'm like, the guy 2 years ago that was drinking and thought he was just thought he was good was not good. I was mailing it in. I was a bad leader. I was called a bad leader, and I got offended by being called a bad leader. You know what I mean? Brandon Humphrey said, you are a shitty leader. And I was like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And, you know, I apologized to him a while back, but I'll say it right here on the thing. He told me I was a shitty leader, and I was so far gone in my head that I was like, no, I'm not. You're a piece. You suck. And I'm like, no, you're right. When I cleared this up and I owned up to all my shit, I was like, nah, this dude was right. I am a shitty leader. You know, I was right when I said you're not showing up and busting your ass class to class like you should be. But it was that's part of me being a leader too. What people go through shit in life. But what I'm saying right there, and what I've said through this whole thing is, if you guys aren't willing to show up, if they're not willing to show up to train with you, if they're not willing to show up to train with Ugly, Ollie, if they're not showing up at these places and working with these really good people, if they are so stuck on this is the one way to do it in the one person, I tell my guys all the time, go try it all out if you'd like. You know, try it out if you'd like. I've had people come into my place and then they went to Ugly Dojo shows and they've come to my shows and they've mixed in with the two people and they decided, hey, it's closer for me to go to Uglies. And either way you look at it, I'm going to get my hands on those motherfuckers anyways. You know what I mean? That's what a true team effort is. It doesn't matter who's training with you, Paul. It doesn't matter who's training with Ugly and Ollie. It doesn't matter who's training with me. We're that nucleus of people. We're going to run into each other. And if Ugly's telling my guy something, I'm not going to be like, hey, buddy, don't talk to my student. And I'm not gonna go to my student and undermine I'm not gonna undermine you, Ollie, anybody. I'm not gonna undermine Rick Luxury. I'm not going to undermine people that I respect in the business, even if they tell my student something that maybe I'm trying to tell them something different, because it's coming from a different perspective, and you never know how this individual is going to take it. Something that I tell somebody, like if I tell fucking Jalen, who's 6'9" something, it might not resonate as much as if you walk up to him at 7 feet tall and tell this guy something, because he might want to hear what you have to say more because of the size comparison.
Absolutely. And I think it's, you know, you have a great point that it doesn't really matter where all these people are training, because eventually, you know, the perfect example is, you know, the time that Ugly came up here and was running the seminar before our show started in Carson City, right? And I was like, because I think you were running behind, I was running behind, and that dude just stepped in there and fucking took over. And I get there and he's already, you know, got these guys sweating and going through stuff. And I was like, man, I really appreciate it. And he's like, man, I just appreciate the opportunity. You know, it's like, you know, he talks about it all the time. You know, when they're training with Ollie takes the lead, right? Ugly gets to throw some stuff in here and there, but in the majority of the time, Ollie's kind of in control of what's going on. And so I think it's awesome. You know, it's awesome that he gets to step in there and like he's in control, and it's my students. It's, your students, it's other people's students, right? Everybody is in there with Ugly, and and then you go down and you help out at the matinee shows, and now these students are in there with you, and and you're leading the show. And then there's going to be the NorCal United, where you're going to get a little bit of everybody. You're going to get your hands on everybody's students, and everybody's students are going to be able to kind of go the rounds with all the different trainers and get a different perspective of different things, right? Things through my eyes, things through your eyes, things through Ugly's eyes, the Samoans. You're going to get a little bit of everything. So a little bit of perspective from all these different people and how they see the pro wrestling business, and different situations, training styles, things like that. So definitely a great opportunity for NorCal as a whole to kind of get a little tidbits of everything from all these different people. So I look forward to those opportunities, when it's like you're at someone's show and you can kind of take someone aside and say, hey, I saw you guys were working on this for your match. Tell me about it, right? Give me your mindset going into this thing. What type of story are you trying to tell? And then you have the opportunity to give some input, right? This is why I think that's good. This is why I think that's not good. Here's what I think you should do to fix it. Things like that. So, obviously we kind of try to do this as a big family, right? It takes a village, as they say. So I think it's a great opportunity.
For the longest time since I started, me and Big Ugly, me and Gabe were enemies. We were on the other side of the spectrum. You know what I mean?
Right.
After years, we found out that we didn't hate each other, and we worked together, like we talked to each other, and then over time as experience, and we all get smarter. You know what I mean? Because me, you, Adam, Luster, Rick, Scotty Aboot, Roland, Big Ugly, all the we were so dumb back then. We didn't even know it. We were fighting over a territory that we weren't even actually going in and really competing with each other in. It's like, oh, you guys are running Sacramento and we're running down here. So we're an hour, 45 minutes to an hour away from each other. But we're like going at each other like we're really going to affect the other person's business. You know what I mean? It's like, we're not going to affect each other's business, because it's just like the training schools, man. Like a lot, if you ask me and you say, how many local guys do you have? Like in the surrounding 10-mile radius of this place, like your town, I go, not many. I got a new kid from Living the Dream. I got Reno, who lives around the corner. I got Big Eric, who's coming off the injury. If Christian is here, he's more of a help. But I think Nickelberry is in across the bridge over there. So I think really when you look at it, I've got like over 30 total people, and I think 5 of them are local. So, I mean, I got guys and girls coming from Redding and Mount Shasta and Red Bluff and Chico and Oroville and Gridley, Sacramento area, all the different parts all over. I got people coming from all over the place, and locally it's a small number, like still I feel like this is an untapped market of what's going on. There's a lot of people, because SPW runs in the building over here with John, and there's a lot of people that come from SPW. Like SPW runs in Elk Grove, which is like 20 whatever minutes past downtown Sacramento. So their main venues in Elk Grove. Their promotion says it's based out of Sacramento, but they drive all the way down here to train in Yuba City. So if you're in Elk Grove and you see SPW, I think today's their big event, right? One Supreme Night. So if you see SPW in Elk Grove tonight at their biggest event, and you're like, whoa, look at all these fans and everything, and they got Thatcher and Kratos and on the card, and then you sign up for their school, you're all the way in Elk Grove. Now you're driving over an hour to come here to this town to train with them over at that building. And it's not like it was back in the day where you train for 6-7 months, whatever, and then you ran into all these other, or you could even communicate with other trainers and other wrestlers. Like you could come down here to train in here and then start watching videos online and see that the actual WCWF run shows there. Oh, PCW, who are these people? What? It's too easy to get access to everything nowadays. Back in the day, there wasn't this social media presence and there wasn't so much wrestling. So you didn't have to worry so much about somebody snagging your talent, or you know what I mean? Like, and that's not what it is. It's not about snagging the talent, but that's why I feel like the wrestling school itself as a profitable thing, it's such variance because they're going to go to the closest place, right? And as they get a little bit better, they're going to go where they know that they're going to get better at whatever they want to get better at. If you want to get better at this or that, if you want to learn performance and promo and crowd work, detail, there's just so much stuff that's like, what do you want to do? But also, it's like, are you wasting your time with this talent? You know, I went up to a piece of your talent, one of your students, and I said, hey, man, do you want to be a wrestler or not? And he's like, I do. And I said, well, I don't think you do. You know, that I don't think you do. I made a graphic for you. I put you on the shit. I'm not even going to say who it is. And I just basically said, is this what you want? Because if it's what you want, you need to help Paul out a lot more. If I don't start hearing your name coming out of his mouth, then I don't feel like, you know, I think what I'm saying to you right now, I'm 100% accurate in saying it. And that's where the truth hurts, because I'm not saying somebody's not going to be successful. I'm saying the effort you're putting in right now will never happen for you. And they go, oh, this guy's a dick, man. He told me I don't got it. I'm going to prove him wrong. Prove me wrong, please. Because all I'm asking for is you to show me that you like, hey, man, this is what I really want to do. Isn't that all we're asking for in anybody? Is like, hey, man, show me this is what you want. And if it's not, go show somebody else that's what you want, if that's what you want. I mean, I don't know how to explain it anymore. This is an informative fucking podcast. If you'd listen to it, it might turn a light on in your brain and you might get better.
That's it, man. And that's all we are asking for, is we are asking if you're showing up at a professional wrestling school, show us that you want to be a pro wrestler, right? We're going to give you the steps that you need to take to accomplish the dream, and all you have to do is follow them, right? It is the instruction manual, and you just have to open it up and read it. So
you gotta pay for it. Whether you're paying, you're tapping our Venmo or our Cash App, or you're fucking handing us fucking cash, or you're fucking editing videos, or you're running sound. There's so many different ways to be a contributor to this thing. I pinpoint it all the time. I say it all the fucking time. I go, hey, this person goes, man, I got my degree to be a dentist or a dental assistant. Okay. Did you get a full ride scholarship to do it? Probably not. Cool if you did, but if you didn't, you probably got $100,000 in student loans that you got to pay off for a long time, or you paid all this money, or you physically paid the money. You had to travel. If you stayed in the dorms, you had to pay for that. You got to pay for your food and your living expenses and all this stuff. And you do all this to go through school, college, to get this degree, to say you have this, the voucher. And that doesn't mean you land a job doing that. It means now you got to go find a fucking dentist office that's going to let you come in as an apprentice to learn how to do this stuff underneath this guy and then or girl. And then you're hoping that after putting your time in there as a volunteer, that they see something in you and actually want to hire you and put you on the payroll. So it's a very long process to get there. Wrestling is no different. And it baffles me that people think it is. Like, we had to live in the dream, and there was a really good athlete in there, and he came out and he was like, so how much money do I make doing this? And I'm like, you don't even know how to bump right yet. Here's what you could make. That ain't enough. Well, get the fuck out of here. What? Yeah, I didn't say it mean, but it's just like, get the fuck out of here. Shook his parents' hands and said, hey, thanks for coming out. I hope you guys had a good night. But that's the wrong attitude. Even if he doesn't know it's the right attitude. That's what you asked on your first day at a competition. It's your first time stepping into a wrestling ring. And you're like, hey, how much do I make doing this shit? You ain't going to make shit. Maybe if you sell a bunch of tickets and you get a cut off them and you make your own fucking merchandise or whatever. I don't know. Go give some blowjobs on the corner before the show starts if you're really good at that. I have no idea. You know, I just went to a midget wrestling show and thousands of people showed up. And the lights, they didn't even have lights above the ring. It was dark. They were asking people to put their cell phones on last night. I left. I just left. You know? What do I want to stay for? It's like sometimes I want to go to a wrestling show, but I don't want to go to a wrestling show. Because honestly, when you look on the card or something, you go, man, that guy's going to be in the locker room. That might, if I'm not on the card and have to deal with that person, that might be a day off for me. You know what I mean? Like, you got to look at things like, sometimes you just don't want to deal with, you see people on a card or a show you're going to and you're like, fuck, that looks like a fucking downer being around that person, man. But if I'm getting paid or I've agreed to take a booking or I'm helping out or whatever, and that person's on the card, well, then it's like AA, brother. It's like if I go to a bar, I don't just, nobody calls me up and goes, yo, Zach, I'm at the bar. You want to hang out with me now? And I go, yeah, sure. Sounds fun. But if I'm out as a group or we're going to sing karaoke or there's a reason for me to be there, if there's a reason for me to be there, then everything's okay and it's justified. If there's a reason for me to be at a show or an event or something like that, but if there's not a reason for me to be there, then I'm just popping up. I mean, there's a, you know, the reason could be scouting. The reason could be because you're there, Ugly's there, whoever. I mean, I've been asked to show up, but if like I look at something and I go, yeah, I don't know, man. There's a couple people on this thing that I probably don't want to sit in a locker room with, and you just know who's gonna like not listen to something. Like, I don't want to go somewhere where I'm watching something and someone asks me for advice and I go, hey, yeah. And then I know it's going to go in one ear and out the other, but you're asking me, or I say something to you and you go, yeah, I get it. And then it never changes, man. Like that's shit I'm trying to avoid in wrestling, man. I'm really trying to avoid people that just give me a bad feeling in my stomach.
That bother you to the point of nauseum?
Yeah,
I understand, man. I definitely understand. You have those times. I mean, and we talk about it over and over. You know, I remember Ugly talking about, you know, just because you think that that's what we want you to do is come up and ask for advice, doesn't mean that you need to do that, especially if you're not going to pay attention to what the advice is, right? Because you already know how to be a pro wrestler, right? You know everything about it, so you don't need any advice, but you're still thinking that that's the right thing to do. And you know, and I just like how Ugly is very upfront and to the point. It's like, I know you're asking me to critique your match, not because you care about my critique, but you think you asking me a question is going to encourage me to put you on my card, right? To get you an extra booking. And it's like, well, unfortunately, if you're not taking my advice and trying to get better, I have no desire to put you on my card, to book you in doing anything. So, yeah, so I think that's comical when you have that. It's like what are you trying to get out of this? Are you trying to truly get advice, try to get better, or are you just trying to go, hey, I care about your opinion and you should put me on your product?
Well, passion and experience, man. If you got passion and experience, that's who I want to be around. If I'm a student coming up, I'm looking for passion and experience. A lot of people go, well, Ollie's down there, so that's where you go to get good. Yeah, if you're willing. Don't think, and I'm just, this is informative, right? So we inform people. You want to get great? Yeah, I can attest to that. But if you think you're going to show up down there, and you're not willing to give 100% and not willing to get the living shit kicked out of you, and you're not really looking for some physical contact, not physical contact that's going to injure you, but physical contact that's, you might blow up, you might puke, you might have to work hard. Don't. Because Oliver John is not the guy that you want to go down to going, oh, it's going to be easy on me. No, you want to be a great pro wrestler, 100%. But if you don't really want to, you know, when I look down there on the videos, if I don't see 25, 30 people in a building, I mean, to be honest with you, now it's no knock on anything. The matinee show is great, but I feel like if you could get all those 30 people to show up for a 3 to 4 hour training session once a month, if you maybe not call it the matinee show and do a show later, so that because I feel like it's good, but we don't get enough time with everybody. Everybody gets like one quick round, which is great because we're explaining and people hear it. But I just feel like it's more important to give them more training. That's something that can be big if there was 3 to 4 hours in that, and then a show. You know what I mean? So it's not that, I get that it starts at noon, but it's like, what if the training was from 10 to 2 and then there was a show? You know what I mean? I get what's going on down there and everything. I'm just saying, like, there's so many people gathered around, and they're gathered around too because they want to work a show, right? They want to work the show. But at the same sense, the training and what they're getting from me and Ugly and Ollie at that time, because everyone's there at that time, that's what's really going to benefit. The show is a side effect. You know what I mean? It's the after effect. It's like, okay, you came here and busted your ass for 3 or 4 hours and really got some good training. Now here's a fucking show for you. You know what the problem is? I already know the problem. It's a Saturday or whatever. So if you don't do it at noon to like 2 o'clock, everybody's got another show they got to go to. I can do something early for you, but I can't do something tonight. I'm double booked, baby. I got a double shot tonight. I see people go on there all the time and they're like, I forgot what, but the person posted, like, I lost my job. Let's make this weekend a triple shot. And I was like, what's a real triple shot, man? It's like, what do you just fucking focus on the training, focus on the gym. That's what I'm doing right now. Luster the Legend told me I was a fat pile of shit. You know what I mean? He said, hey, he called me on the phone, said, you fat fuck. And I was like, oh, fuck, man. And you know what? All I did was say, hey, do we have a problem? Like, let's figure out if we have a problem. But you ain't wrong. That motherfucker, I was letting myself go. And I needed someone from my past that wasn't gonna fucking sugarcoat anything he wanted to. At the end of the day, he wasn't lying to me. 5 minutes remain in this podcast. He wasn't lying to me, Paul. And when I look back at it, I go, you know what? If David Luster wouldn't have called me on my birthday or sent me that picture and I wouldn't have called him back, and he wouldn't have told me, you look like shit, I would have never been like, yeah, you're right, I do look like shit. Because I did look like shit. So what did I do? Now okay, thank you for being honest with me. And I appreciate that he wasn't nice about it. You know what I mean? Because that wasn't nice. That was some mean girl shit. But it's okay because I'm not sensitive and I've been doing this a while. So I can take some mean girl shit and not fucking, oh, I can't believe you did this to me. So yeah.
It would also be very hypocritical of us to say you got to be in good shape to be a pro wrestler. You need to have a gym membership, all that stuff, if we're not willing to do the same thing. And if we're going to tell people that you need to be in shape, then we should be willing to hear that as well. Like, hey, what about you? Don't you think you should also be in shape if you're a pro wrestler? So I think that is definitely one of those things where, we're asking for people to take our constructive criticism about pro wrestling. And if we're not willing to take that in return, then there's something seriously wrong, right? It's like, oh no, this doesn't apply to me. This only applies to you, right? You need to get in better shape. I don't need to get in better shape, right?
With age, I think it's incredible that at almost 45, somebody that I've known for 24, 20, 22, 23 years told me I was out of shape. And at my age, not even with any intention to do anything major as a performer anymore, I'm like, I got to get in shape. You're like, should I take my shirt off? And I'm like, I gave you the old Ballard brothers advice. Yes, you should. You're 50. What are you right now?
50
years old, and you're still concerned about eating what you eat and lifting. Ugly's what, 51? I think he just turned 52. Happy birthday, Big Ugly. Belated. I sent you a message, and there's your gift. It's on the screen. But he's gone through so much health issues.
Right.
And when he was on the podcast, which I love, we got to get him on there a lot more, man. But when he's on the podcast and he's in that tank top, you're like, dude, this fucking 50-plus-year-old is jacked. He's going to the gym, Luster, well, he's over 40, obviously. He's got to be like 43, 44, jacked. You know what I mean? Like, to be in your mid-40s to upper 50s, and we should be mailing it in. We should be on a boat somewhere fucking eating hamburgers and shit and fucking not giving a two shits about our health. And we're over here like, no, in reality, we can, right? Like we can say, hey, I've been the Roland Alexander theory. I saw it on Beyond the Mat. And then when I finally got close to Roland, I saw it there too. He's like, hey man, you need to lay off the pizzas and the Baskin Robbins. And then he would court me around to fucking Warriors games because he had season tickets, and I'd go to his house and he'd be like, all right, we're going to Baskin Robbins, we're gonna get a blast and this, and I'm like, fuck, whipped cream, chocolate fucking sprinkles. That's how we started the day. And then we went to a fucking sports pub afterwards and we bought fucking the combo fried platters of fucking cucumber, what are those things? Fucking the medallions and the mozzarella sticks and all that shit, and then drowned it with a couple big fucking beers. And then we went to the game and we would buy 2 custom pizzas so I could eat half of his and he could eat half of mine while we're drinking beer at the game. And then when it's over, you're gonna go slam down some dessert too. And then you get back to the fucking place and you're just like, oh fuck, I put 10,000 calories and fucking 5,000 grams of sugar and carbs in my fucking body in a 3-hour period, and I'm fucking drunk. So yeah, I see it live, man. It's just a lot of stuff. I'm going to get back to really hammering down here, because if you want to put someone in front of a microphone on a press conference to say the right things, go grab Oliver John, go grab you. If you don't want, if I'm the wild card, bro. I'm gonna say some shit you might not like. I'm gonna say some, maybe I offend you. I don't know. I'm not doing it with malice or evil intent. I'm just doing it because, brother, what you see is what you get. That's it. What you see right here is what you fucking get. And if you don't like it, sorry. There's a lot of things I don't like either, but I tolerate, love and tolerance, man. But I am not going to sugarcoat shit with you. If you see me not say something to you, or a short response to you, or a smile and agree, I'm giving away my gimmick right here. It's because I don't care to talk to you. I don't give a shit. I'm like, I already know you're full of shit, and I have no interest in wasting my time with you, because I can make more money. I can't get time. Time is precious. Moments and memories. And that's what we have to think about in the matches too. Moments over moves. Fuck your moves, man. Fuck your moves, make them fit into the fucking moments, what we're doing here. But yeah, I have love and tolerance for everybody, but I have no patience for bullshit. So if you think we're talking about you, we've got to get this catchphrase over many times. If you think we're talking about you, guess what? We probably are. If you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you, man. Fucking write in my comment section and let me know I'm a fucking Irish Italian piece of cum. You know what I mean? I have no clue. I'm just going to tell you what you need to do to get better. And if you choose not to listen to me, or you choose to listen to me and take it elsewhere, go for it. But I'm not lying to you. We ain't lying to you out there. What do you think?
That's it, man. That's about that kind of sums it up, I think. I know you got two shows coming up, right? Back to back this coming weekend. First and second, right?
Yeah.
So enthusiastic.
Oh man, I hear it all the time. I heard it the other day. I hear it from everyone. They're like, I'm burnt out, man. And I'm like, me too. I'm burnt. Ugly's burnt. I can see it in his fucking eyes half the time, but you know what? He's got a smile. And he's over here burnt out. He's got 3 kids here, and he's got a kid over in the Philippines, and he's got his plane ticket, and that's his concern. Oh, and I heard him say, fundraiser show to get that kid over here. Hey, I'm down. I'm down. I will walk around and help you put those flyers up and everything else, man, because that's what we do in this new life I live. We're of service, man. You need help? You're my friend. Let's fucking go. I say let's do it. I don't know if I'm overstepping my bounds right here on the end of the show or not, but I'm saying if that's what we're doing, free show, I am volunteering my promotional time, my graphical time, and I am volunteering my service to do whatever you need me to do, because that's what good people and good friends do. And this ain't no gimmick, brother. You know why? Because it's time, motherfuckers.